All right, so in this video, I wanted to have a little discussion and just let you guys know kind of my favorite Air Jordan sneakers of all time. And the reason why I wanted to do this, I did a video on this maybe 6 years ago. I looked on my channel. 6 years has been a long time since I've done that. And, since then, we've seen a lot of retros come and go. The hype has come and gone as well, depending on the retro release. But at the end of the day, there are these OG colorways of the Air Jordan models that I personally just always crave and always want to have in my collection. Some of them I have here, some of them I do not. But it's the reason why I think Jordan Brand can keep retroing these every 5 years, and while they'll be infinitely wealthy because they can keep releasing these and we'll buy them time after time after time. But yeah, so I figured this would be a fun video to do, and let's go ahead and jump right in. What is going on, guys? Hess here, CollectiveKicks.com. If you guys would like to shop this week's top sneaker deals, check the link in the description, and happy shopping. There's been a ton of deals that I've been posting for the last week or so, and worth checking out some of those deals. Primarily, ironically, Adidas deals, but most of those deals are out there and worth checking out. And if you guys want to buy in these Jordans, I'll try to link those in the description as well to either StockX or eBay. But real quick, before we get started in the video, can you guys leave a comment in the comment section of, out of all of the Air Jordan models, all of the Air Jordan colorways, OG colorways specifically, what is the top 3 pairs of sneakers that you guys would keep in your guys' collection if you had the opportunity, or keep them and bring them to the grave with you? Only 3 shoes, any colorway of any 3 models. Which ones would you bring? I'm going to let you guys know at the end of the video which ones I would bring. But drop the comment as you guys are thinking and watching this video. And while you're down there, go ahead and hit the thumbs up if you can as well. But basically, I was just trying to think of content to bring you guys for videos, because obviously shipments have been slow for sneakers that I order, and I just am trying to think outside of the box a little bit more for some of my videos. So if you guys have suggestions for video topics and stuff that you'd like to see from me, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section, and I'll be reviewing them and trying to create that content within the next week or so. So definitely do that. Shout out to MJO23Dan for the t-shirt as well. He gave this to me a while ago. I decided to represent it today. And also I wanted to bring this out too. I saw this in the corner of my room. This is on a display shelf on the back over here. This is actually a book, the Encyclopedia of Air Jordans, and Jumpman Bostic gifted me this one back a couple years ago. So shout out to Jumpman Bostic, man. 2 of the sneaker people in the sneaker community that I really respect is MJO and Jumpman Bostic. So it would have actually been really dope to do like a live video of all 3 of us discussing this topic, but I'm sure that they're short on time just like I am nowadays with when we can actually record, as in the littlest one is sleeping right now, so I'm able to actually record for you guys. So with Air Jordans, you may have some other OG colorways or other ones that were like released in early 2000s and whatnot that people really like covet and waited for the next retro, such as both of these. They waited for the next or the very first retro of both of these shoes. But the reality is, if I have a choice of just one Air Jordan 3, it's not going to be either of these ones, even though I really, really like both of these shoes. It's always going to be one of the primary colors of the Bulls, the white, red, and black. And so that's why most of the Jordans that I'm going to be discussing in this video are those 3 colors. The other thing that I wanted to mention is I posted a picture of a lot of like non-OG Air Jordans, and then I posted a picture of the OG colorways, and most of the people said if they had a choice between one or the other, they would take the OG colorways over the overhyped up Air Jordans that have a way higher resale value than the OGs. And I think that speaks volumes to what the impact of the actual OG colorways of the Air Jordan series and why they're so coveted, even if they are mass released time and time again and then saturated to the point where people really don't care about that one anymore. But ultimately, it always comes back full circle, and those are the ones that people are craving, including people like myself. So obviously, there is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Air Jordan colorways from all of the different models. Primarily, we're going to be focusing on the Air Jordan 1 through the Air Jordan 14, and I personally collected the 15 through the 23 as well, and even beyond that, but I did sell a lot of my Jordans when I did my large sneaker sale the other year, and I kind of regret it, but at the same time, it served its purpose for the time being. So the Air Jordan 1 actually had a ton of different colorways, and more so than the Air Jordan 2, 3, 4, and 5, but some of the primary ones that most people really care about are these 2 right here. So we have the Bread Air Jordan 1. This is the black and red, hence the name Bread for those that didn't know. This is one of the most iconic Air Jordans of all time. And then you also do have another very, very iconic one, the Chicago color block. Now this isn't a Chicago, this is a custom that I made out of my bloodlines, because I did have the original Chicagos and I sold them a long time ago. I wish I didn't, but the resale on those are absolutely insane right now. But the bloodline shines through. These ones are not bad for doing a really quick custom on a pair. And for those wondering, the custom lasts really well. Like these I've worn a number of times and they're great. But yeah, both of these are classic colorways, and I chose these two over the Royals and Shadows. And to me, because if you really line up all of the Air Jordan 1 colorways, these are going to be the two that probably stand out the most. Now, feel free to leave comments and what you think otherwise. To me, if I had any Air Jordan 1 sneakers, like the Bread one would be the one that I would always keep in the collection no matter what. The Chicago is a nice second place for me, but Bread 1 is probably one of the most coveted Air Jordan sneakers that you can buy, period, because it's one of the original ones that started everything for Jordan Brand. Now I'm skipping the Air Jordan 2 because I do not have an Air Jordan 2 in my collection anymore, but the original colorway, the Air Jordan 2, would also be on this table if I could. And although I do like that model, the retros have not given them justice to the original pairs that had Italian leather and whatnot. If they gave like a true retro feel to those, or really made a premium one, like in the OG color block, and I think I would be definitely interested in try to buy a pair of those, especially since it's one of the only sneakers with the Nike Air branding that Jordan Brand has that people just don't really care about. So I'd love to see like a really nice quality retro, unlike the last one that we got from them years ago. And I actually have a pair of Pythons which are really similar to the Air Jordan 2s, and I still have a pair of these snake skins. These are actually really nice quality. So passing that, there's two pairs of Air Jordan 3s that personally I would go to at any given point. The Black Cement 3s is my favorite one, hands down, out of all the Air Jordan 3s. So this one to me is like the Bread one in the Air Jordan 1s. It's the most iconic, probably one of the most iconic Air Jordans of all time, period. And one of my favorite ones too, because early memories for when I was a kid, these are the ones that I remember. I don't remember the white cements as much, and I don't remember the fire reds, but the black cements are the ones that definitely I loved, and I wanted to get a pair of these when I was a kid, which is why I have 3 or 4 pairs of these. I actually ended up gifting my coworker a pair of these just because I had an extra one, but I still had 2 other pairs still, so I wanted to share the wealth, I guess. But Nike Air branding on this one, I have the Jumpman one also, but one of my favorite Air Jordans of all time, top 3 for sure, is the black one. But I also really do like the white cement version as well. It's just not as much as the black cement one. And shout out to eBay and Stadium Goods for this one. It was crazy that they ended up sending a pair. Didn't even know they were sending them. Really dope to get those. Now moving on to the Air Jordan 4s, 2 of the ones that I absolutely love is the white cement Air Jordan 4 and then the Bread Air Jordan 4. I think that the Bread Air Jordan 4 is probably my favorite Air Jordan 4 thus far. However, I will say that a fire red Air Jordan 4 with Nike Air branding retro, that retro is long overdue, and it's one that I definitely need to get back in my collection. So that's one shoe that I regret getting rid of, and I really wish I had in my collection now. The 3 pairs of the Air Jordan 4s speak volumes to me. Like, they're just some of the best colorways of the Air Jordan 4. And actually looking at Jumpman Bostic's book and seeing the pictures of the Air Jordan 4 in the fire red colorway, I'm like, man, I got to get a pair of those back. So hoping Jordan Brand drops those again soon, because that would be awesome. Definitely one that I want back in my collection. But the reality is, if I only was allowed one Air Jordan 4 in my collection, I'd have to go to the dark side again and go with the Bread 4. I think this one was the best because of the nubuck suede material was just different than the other ones with the white leather, and the overall color blocking of this was just super fresh. I love this black cement or Bread 4 or whatever you want to call it. This one was one of my favorites back then and still is to this day. In fact, this is another one that I remember my neighbor kids having that I didn't, and I really wanted them. And I just absolutely love this one as well, which is the reason why I got a double up of these also. So I have 2 pairs of these ones. Now moving on to the Air Jordan 5s, we have the fire red Air Jordan 5s that most recently released. This one has the reflective tongue. There is also an OG pair that has a black tongue version, and I actually like the silver tongue better. I think it was more iconic and different at the time, but the black tongue version is definitely welcome back in my collection. I had a lot of the other ones previously, and I ended up getting rid of all of them, so this is the only one that I have left. I did have the grapes and the metallic 5s as well, and I'm really kind of bummed I got rid of those metallic 5s, but I know they will retro again. That's the reason why I'm okay with it. When the metallic 5s come back, I will definitely cop a pair. But I think that the metallic black is probably my favorite Air Jordan out of the 5s as well. But I really do love the Air Jordan 5s. So the fire red 5s, definitely really nice. But if I had to only have one pair of Air Jordan 5 OG colorway, I think I might go with the metallic 5s. If you guys think I'm crazy though, drop a comment in the comment section which OG colorways you guys would want. Moving on to the Air Jordan 6, this is the infrared and black colorway of the Jordan 6. I think this is one of the most iconic ones as well. Not black and red, and this is kind of where they changed things up quite a bit. They didn't really do the traditional Bulls colors on a lot of the Air Jordans. Now, there's definitely some very iconic Air Jordan 6s out there other than the infrared 6s, but these are my go-to if I was going to have only one pair of Air Jordan 6. I think that these things are amazing. In the last retro, they actually did really, really good on these, in my opinion. But Carmine's is another one. I mean, if they did another retro of those, I would cop a pair of those also, because I really love that colorway. But there was some pretty nice colorways of the Air Jordan 6 historically. Out of the Air Jordan 7s, obviously there's the Hares Bordeaux colorway. I actually think the Bordeaux colorway is my favorite, if that's even how you say it. I always say that one wrong. And then also there's the Raptor one, which it seems like every retro people sleep on those ones. But I ended up gifting my Bordeaux colorway to somebody else. Like, came over to my house and was looking through my collection, and their kid was coming up to my size, 9.5, and I ended up just gifting them to him, which sort of regret again, but also like they went to a good home. Air Jordan 8s, never really been a fan of the 8s. So for me, like obviously playoffs or Bugs Bunny, those are great ones. But at the end of the day, they're just not my favorite Air Jordan models. So the 9s Jordan never played in. The 10s, they had the City Pack, and I didn't really gravitate to any of those. The Chicago 10s were kind of nice in the steels, and I had a pair of the OG steels, but I ended up getting rid of those as well. So if I'm skipping over the 9s and the 10s, going straight to the 11s, like these two are probably some of the best colorways of the Air Jordan 11s, in my opinion. Now, this is one of the models that Jordan Brand really has not let a lot of creatives get a hold of and make different colorways of the Air Jordan 11. Historically, we've seen 1 to 2 colorways every year of the Air Jordan 11, and that's it. Even the Nike Dornbecker series has not touched the Air Jordan 11. They've gone 1 through 15, but not the Air Jordan 11. So who knows if they'll ever get an Air Jordan 11 that the kids can design through the Dornbecker program. If that happens, people will probably go crazy for it no matter what it looks like. But this one I struggle with because the Space Jams were a great colorway too, but like these two are probably my favorite. And even though the Concords don't have any red on them, I think that they are my favorite Air Jordan 11, more so than the Bread 11s, which probably triggers people because Bread 11s, I think most people would choose over the Concords. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think maybe it's because the Concords have that patent leather that is in such contrast to the rest of the upper of the shoe, and the clear soles on these are just crazy. I loved what Tinker did with this one. This is one that you could probably dress up. I think a lot of kids went to proms in these when they dropped. I know some of the people that I hung out with wore these. Of course, I would have probably as well if I had the money. But yeah, man, I think that these ones are my favorite Air Jordan 11s of all time. You like how I said I think that they're my favorite, but the reality is opinions change over time, and as we get desensitized to the Jordan retros as another retro hits, and then all of a sudden they're mass produced, and then do we really need that one? And now we desire the other one more because it's 6 years old since the last retro. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes our opinions can change on the desirability of the sneakers based upon the availability of the sneaker. And so some of them that don't release in a long time, it gets you kind of craving them until they retro them once again. The Air Jordan 12s, there's a lot of classic ones as well. I don't have any of the original colorways anymore. The Cherry 12s, the Playoff 12s, the Flu Games. I think that if I only was allowed one pair, I might actually go with the Taxis over even the Flu Games. Maybe I'm crazy, but like thinking about the one that I would keep in my collection if I had the opportunity now, I think that the Taxi 12s would be the ones I would keep. And then there's the Air Jordan 13s, and I don't have any of the OG colorways of those as well, but the Playoff 13s are definitely nice. Flint's just retroed, so I'm sure that satiated a lot of people's palates that really wanted those Flint 13s. If I had to choose one Air Jordan 13 and that's it, like maybe I think I would go with the He Got Games out of all of them now. Like originally I would have gotten the Cherries, because that was like one that was more sentimental to me since I was like my first pair of Air Jordan 13s. I got them used from a neighbor, like it was terrible. But thinking about it now, I'm like, you know what? That was great and all. Like I still like those ones, but if I only had one, I loved the way that the He Got Game ones look. I think they look like the best. Those in the Playoff 13s, if they gave us those with like nice quality leather, I think that would be crazy. And then rounding it out, the Air Jordan 14s. This one is definitely one that I love. The Ferrari 14 colorway, in my opinion, is one of the best ones. The candy cane or, cherry, whatever you want to call it. This is the colorway that I had, and I remember I actually bought the very first colorway of these, the original ones from the Nike employee store back in the day. I was so stoked. It was my very first pair of Air Jordan sneakers that I bought brand new, and I loved it. Like, it was just super dope. And then I got stolen while I was playing basketball in a gym at community college. I wasn't wearing these. I was wearing a different pair of basketball shoes. I switched them out, and somebody stole them from my bag. It was terrible, man. I felt like, especially when you don't have that much money and you really put forth some effort to buy something, that sent me back a little bit. But definitely one of my favorite ones still, The Last Shot. People probably like that one a lot more, but I would take this one. Out of all the colorways of the Air Jordan 14s, this is the one that I would go with. But kind of a random video. I figured I'd make this for you guys since I had some time to think of some content to make, and I wanted to just kind of discuss with you guys some of the classic and the best original Air Jordans to date, in my opinion, and really what helps spawn the creativity of like a Virgil Abloh or Travis Scott or anybody that, or Fragment, anybody that gets the ability to collaborate with Jordan Brand and create their own version of one of the iconic sneakers. I think that that's pretty much everybody's dream, to be able to have that ability to do so. It's crazy how much leather and rubber mean to people, like sentimental value and just monetary value and everything else in between. But it's fun to be able to share with you guys kind of my thoughts on some of my favorites, and feel free to do the same. Leave some comments. If you only had 3 Air Jordans that you could take with you, which 3 Air Jordans would it be? OG colorways only. Which 3 would it be? For me, I mean, this is number 1. And then 2, I would go these 2 for sure. I gotta keep it real. I gotta go with the 4s as well. So these would be my 3, man. I would go to the grave with these ones. Like, this is kind of hard to decide 3 pairs of Jordans, but these are the, I guess, my top 3 of all time, if you're gonna call it that. Really excited to see the comments, so drop a comment. Let me know what your top 3 would be. It's going to be kind of crazy to see. Anyways, thank you guys for stopping by and watching. Hopefully you guys are having a good time out there in quarantine still. If you are, I still am. So I'm going to be here for you guys if you guys need. So drop a comment if you have future suggestions for videos, or hit me up on Twitter. And then I'll start creating that for next week, because I literally have 0 videos planned for next week's agenda. So yeah, there's that. Anyways, have a good rest of the week, and we'll see you guys for some more videos soon. Peace, guys.